Hello, students. Happy Thursday. I can't believe it's already Thursday. Another week almost done. So, your essays this week have been amazing. Even better than your essays last week. I've been so impressed by how much you've learned and improved. Today, you'll be writing your introduction and your conclusion. I'm going to remind you what goes into a good introduction and what goes into a good conclusion. So, our introduction should be simple. You don't need to go crazy. You can, but you don't need to. All you're going to do is hook your reader in, make them want to read your essay, and then state your thesis. Which two people did you think were the most important during the Revolutionary War? That's all. So, I'm going to remind you of ways to hook your reader. You can hook your reader with a sound, action, question, or dialogue. A lot of you like to use a question, and that's fine. But if you use a question every time, I want to challenge you to try something different and test it out, see how it goes. So today, I'm going to try using a sound. So, listen to how this sounds. Let's see how it goes. Boom! Imagine hearing that sound every single day as more and more people were being killed during the Revolutionary War. Luckily, we had many brave people to help end the war. Pretty good. I'm pretty hooked. I don't know about you, but that boom in the beginning really got my attention. Now I just have to state my thesis. The two most important people during the American Revolution were Paul Revere and Patrick Henry. There, done. Introduction. Easy peasy. All right, now we're going to move on to our conclusion. I'm going to remind you that your conclusion, you just restate your thesis, and then you wrap it all up. Tie that pretty bow on it, and end it up. So, last week we talked about ways to wrap it up. I want to give you a little bit more information about some other, more sophisticated, more fourth grade ways to wrap it up. So, here are some other ideas for you. I'm going to try to move my face out of the way. So, one thing you can do is focus on feelings. So you can leave your reader with a strong feeling. For example, I could end my essay by saying, I feel very bad for the colonists, but I am glad that they had Paul Revere and Patrick Henry to help lead them through these tough times. See how I gave you kind of my overall feeling, a deep feeling about feeling bad? That's one way to wrap up an essay. Another way to wrap up an essay is to ask a question. You can do that in your introduction too, right? A lot of these things are kind of similar, your introduction and your conclusion. The only difference is, in your introduction, you're pulling them in, your conclusion, you're sending them off. So, an example of a question I could ask, who do you think was the most important person during the American Revolution? Right? Simple question to wrap it up. Another thing I can do, I can teach my reader a lesson. I've learned so much from my research about the American Revolution that I can teach them something. I could say, from now on, when you think about America, think about the brave men and women like Paul and Patrick who fought for your freedom. Without them, you would still be paying taxes to the evil king. Maybe people didn't know that. You might not have known about this Revolutionary War a few months ago. You didn't know that there was a king that's one time we had to pay taxes to? So I just taught you that in my essay. The last thing that you can do is leave your reader thinking. Give them something to walk away, kind of pondering about. So I could say, imagine if Paul Revere hadn't gotten there in time. Or imagine if Patrick Henry changed his opinion that day. So the reason I chose those two examples is because that's what they're each famous for. Paul Revere is famous for that midnight ride on his horse through the night. Imagine if he didn't get there in time to warn the colonists. Or Patrick Henry is famous for this speech that was so inspiring. But imagine if he was going to give that speech and all of a sudden he changed his mind and didn't think they should fight a war. I wonder what would have happened. I don't know. So for my conclusion, I can choose any of these. I chose to go with, again, of course, restate my thesis. These are the reasons why Paul Revere and Patrick Henry were the two most important people during the American Revolution. And now I chose to go with the one that teaches you a lesson. You can choose whichever one you want. From now on, when you think about America, think about the brave men and women like Paul and Patrick who fought for your freedom. Without them, you would still be paying taxes to the evil king. All right, I wrapped it up. So today, when you go write your introduction and your conclusion, I want to challenge you to try something that maybe you haven't done. So maybe your conclusion, you always end with a feeling. Today, maybe you can end by teaching something. Maybe you always end by leaving the reader thinking. So maybe today you'll try something different. All right, I have faith in you guys. You can do this. Off you go.